to her, she just had a few kids that she adopted. So Elise is one of those. Okay. So guys, I think I'm going to just go ahead and start. Ek dink ek gaan voortgaan en ek gaan maar net begin. For those of you who don't know, oh, here we go. Here's someone else. For those of you who don't know, my name's Helen. I'm Kotie's daughter. Vir die van julle wat nie weet nie, my naam is Helen. Ek is Kotie se dogter. I do have a brother, but he's living in the UK at the moment, and I don't think he'll be able to attend. So die van julle wat nie weet nie, ek het 'n boetie. Hy is op die oomblik in die UK en ek dink nie hy gaan dit maak vandag nie, ongelukkig. Ja, so dis ek, it's me. I've got to do everything. So yeah, here we go. Welcome and thank you so much for joining. I will be recording this, so yeah, if you miss a piece or if there's something that you feel like you haven't been able to read or something went too fast or something, then please do look at the recording, because there is going to be a bit of messages and things like that to read, but I don't know if I'll be able to, if I was able to sort of make it slow enough for everyone to read. I'm also going to be doing this in 2 languages so that everybody can follow along, because there's some people who might not understand English, and there's some people who might not be able to understand Afrikaans. Okay, ja, welkom aan almal. Dankie dat julle gejoin het. Dis basically net ek en ek gaan nou maar basies hierdie ding doen. Ja. Daar gaan 'n bietjie skrif en goedjies wees. Ek gaan dit ook record. So daar gaan boodskapies en goedjies wees vir my ma. Dit mag dalk bietjie vinnig wees om te lees. Ek het probeer om dit so stadig as moontlik te maak dat almal dit kan lees en so aan. Maar dit mag dalk nog steeds te vinnig wees vir almal om te lees en te kan lees en so aan. Maar as jy voel dat dit te vinnig is, ek gaan dit op Facebook en en YouTube sit en so aan, en ek gaan dit aanstuur vir almal, die links en die goeders, dat julle dit kan kyk, en dan as julle voel julle wil dit lees en dit was te vinnig, dan kan julle dit maar pause en so aan, en dan daar lees. Ja, dit is ongelukkig die beste wat ek kan doen op hierdie stadium. Ek gaan ook hierdie in Engels en Afrikaans probeer doen, so ver as wat ek kan, want daar sommige mense wat hierdie bywoon wat nie Engels kan verstaan nie, en daar sommige mense wat nie Afrikaans kan verstaan nie. So, ja, so ek gaan dit probeer doen in albei tale, sodat almal kan redelik volg wat gaan aan. Okay, ek gaan begin met Engels, en dan sal ek daarna die Afrikaans doen. En dis gewoonlik op die slides ook so. Right, I'll start with English, and then I'll go Afrikaans afterwards, and it's usually that way on the slides as well, unless the messages are only in one language or the other. Dis uit en sy die boodskappe in een taal verander is. Okay. Yeah, so I want to just start with something. I always called my mom moedertjie, because when I was young, I tried to read some of the Afrikaans books, and I could never really get into them because they used to call their parents like moeder and vader, and these were just terms that were so foreign to me. It wasn't the way that we spoke in our household at all. And so as a joke, like I called her moedertjie. So to me, my mom was moedertjie. Ja, ek het my ma moedertjie genoem as 'n grappie. Hulle het altyd in die Afrikaanse boeke te klein was wou ek dit probeer lees, maar ek kon dit nooit regtig, ek kon nooit regtig dit lees nie want hulle het altyd hulle ouers moeder en vader genoem in die boeke. En ek kon nooit daarmee identifiseer nie want dit was net nie ons gepraat het in ons huis nie. Ons het meer van 'n vrye Afrikaans gehad en ek sê altyd as ons eintlik Engels gepraat het by die huis sou dit nie veel verskil gemaak het nie, maar in 'n geval so ek het hom moedertjie genoem as 'n grap. Um, ja, so sy was my moedertjie geweest. I'd like to sort of just also tell you two tales that remind me of her. And the one was when I was young, we had a break-in our house. And this was when we lived in Fitrakehoogte and in Tabatswane. And she lived she couldn't see very well. She wore hard contact lenses for most of her life. And the one night there was a break-in and she didn't know it was robbers. Sorry, my voice is breaking. She didn't know it was robbers. And we had 3 cats and we had 2 males. And she thought that they were fighting. So, you know, and they'd recently broken some of her stuff and whatever. And so these guys were busy in our living room and she didn't know, obviously, like I said, that it was the robbers, and she walked in on them and she went as she was like walking. She was turning on the lights and, you know, just walking towards the living room, you know, very angry at these cats for like disturbing her stuff again, you know. And she walked into the living room and she shouted at these cats and she was like, "What are you doing here?" You know. And these guys just bolted because, I mean, you know, this lady just coming in at you and like shouting at you, "What the hell are you doing here?" You know. And yeah, they just bolted past her and luckily like nothing happened to her, but I mean, can you imagine just that happening to you? So that's one of the stories that I always just like to tell about my mom. Ja, een van die stories wat ek altyd vir my ma sal onthou is hulle het een keer by ons ingebreek toe ek nog 'n kind was. En my ma kon nie baie goed sien nie. En dit was in die middel van die nag en ons het almal geslaap en ons het 3 katte gehad en 2 was mannetjies. En hulle het onlangs beklei gehad en van haar goeders afgestamp en gebreek en so aan. En sy was nie baie happy met hulle nie. En toe het sy na dit was in die sitkamer en sy het gehoor daar's 'n geraas in die sitkamer en sy het toe gegaan en haar lense was nie in natuurlik nie want sy het geslaap gehad. Sy het in die sitkamer toe geloop en die ligte aangesit soos sy gaan en op hierdie katte wat sy nou gedink het afgeloop en gesê, "Wat maak julle hier?" En ja, die ouens het hulle mors dit geskrik natuurlik vir die vrou wat op hulle afgestap kom en hulle skree en hulle het weggehardloop basically. So ja, maar die ouens afgeskrik en genadiglik het sy niks oorgekom nie, maar ek meen ja, dis ietsie wat my altyd aan my ma herinner. So ja, so dis een van die goeters. Ja, die ander ene, the other tale that reminds me of my mom is just my mom was helping, some of you will know Auntie Karen de Beer, and my mom was helping her to, they had this jumping castle that they were renting out over the holidays and so on, and my mom was helping with that. But the number on it was for my mom at the chaplain's office, because my mom worked at the chaplain's office at the time in One Mill Hospital. And so they were also taking photos at the hospital at the time. And this one guy phoned in and, you know, my mom was sitting there, she was answering the phone, and the guy said, "Hey, I want to come flash there. I want to come flash at you." And she was like, "Okay, you know, what time?" And she thought that he meant he wanted to come take some pictures, you know. And he was like, "What?" You know, because she wasn't like shocked or anything. And she was like, "Okay, yeah, when do you want to come?" You know. And eventually, like, she realized that, oh gosh, she's dealing with a flasher, one of those guys who likes to expose themselves at women, and like he gets off at like talking to women on the phone, and those kind of things. But she was so naive and innocent, that she hadn't thought about that, like, at the time. And she made him give her all these explanations of what he meant, and like, but what do so all of these. So it was just hilarious at her sort of how naive she was, at the time. And only afterwards almost that she realized. And this guy actually hung up on her because she couldn't understand what he meant. She was so naive. She was like, what do you mean? Give me a definition of that. What's this? Yeah, what explain to me what you mean, So yeah, so these are two of the things we always laughed about. Okay, die ander storie is my ma het by die kabelaanskantoor gewerk in een militaire hospitaal, en party van julle sal Tannie Karen de Beer ken. En oor vakansies het my ma hulle gehelp om hulle so springkasteel gehad, en sy het dit vir hulle uitverhuur en so aan. En haar nommer was in die koerant gewees met haar naam by. Maar dit was by die kabelaanskantoor. En hulle het foto's geneem by die kapelaans, wel oor die hospitaal op daai stadium, en iemand bel haar toe die een dag en noem haar op die naam en sê, "Hi Kotie, ek wil daar by jou kom flash." En sy dink toe dis foto's. Sy dink toe, hy wil kom foto's neem daar. Want dit was my ma, dis hoe naïef sy was. En sy kon nie verstaan wat hierdie ou bedoel nie. En naderhand sê sy, "Okay, maar wat bedoel jy? Gee vir my definisies van hierdie sy die arme ou so uitgemergel, en sy het eers later besef, jessie, hierdie is 'n ou wat homself expose aan mense. Hy flash vrouens met met sy private dele. Dis wat hy doen. Maar sy het glad natuurlik nou nie daaraan gedink in die kabelaanskantoor en daai dinge nie. Sy was so naïef en so aan. En sy het die arme ou so uitgemergel dat hy nader aan die foon op haar neergesit het. So, en dis dit was my ma. Dit is die stories wat ons altyd onder onsself vertel het en voor gelag het tussen ons. So ja, dit was my ma. All right. I think we've got a lot of people now. And I'd like to just play a short video clip. It's about 3 minutes, just a little bit about my mom's life. And it's a bit of a labor of love from me. And for those of you who didn't know her that well, it should explain just a little bit about her. And let me just play that for you guys. Alrighty, just give me a second. There's one more clip I'd like to play, you guys. That's got all the messages from everyone that sent a message to her. Just some of her family and friends. Kotie Pretorius, born Grobler. It's really hard to compact one person's life into a few words. 71 years. My mom touched so many lives of different types and stripes. So I'm going to try and keep this as bilingual as I can, so that everyone she loved can take a piece with them as they remember her. Kotie Pretorius, gebore Grobler. Het is regtig moeilik om een persoon se lewe in 'n paar woorde vas te vat. 71 jaar. My ma het so baie lewens aangeraak van verskillende tipes en strepe. Daarom gaan ek probeer om hierdie so tweetalig as moontlik te hou, sodat elkeen waarvoor sy lief was 'n stukkie van haar saam met hulle kan vat, soos hulle haar onthou. In 1999, my mom helped a lady in the hospital to deliver a son. And what many of you may not know is that she has a black godson. And she's been keeping in contact with him for 22 years. And he's grown into a lovely boy. And here's his message to her. Well, in 1999 het my ma daarmee gehelp wat de geboorte gegee het aan 'n seentjie. Sy was alleen en wat baie van julle dalk nie mag weet nie, is my ma het 'n swart peetkind. En my ma het vir al die 22 jaar nog met hulle kontak gehou. En hier is sy ma se boodskap aan haar.
Greetings, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. My name is Fiona Malema. I live in Limpopo. I met Auntie Kotie in 1999 when I was in one military hospital. It was a very difficult time of my life. And Auntie Kotie and Chaplain De Beer were there for me. I delivered my son on Ndwela, which means he fought for me. Auntie Kotie was there for us. When I came back home, I thought it was the end of us. But then June 2015, my phone beeped a message, ding ding. It was Auntie Kotie's birthday wishes for my son, Onwell. Then I knew how loving a woman she was. It was the first of many to come, of which the last one was just last month, 15 June. Auntie Kotie was a pillar of our strength. She was a mother to us. She was everything. Just last Friday, my phone beeped and it was Auntie Kotie. I smiled like I always do. But when I read the message, it was Helen. My mother is no more. I was heartbroken, very sad, and very angry at her. How could she do this to us? How could she just dump us like this? I had to call my son to tell him about the sadness of our Auntie Kotie. It was terrible. But then there was nothing I could do to bring her back. We lost a goat, we lost a mother, we lost a comforter. To Helen and the entire family, you lost a mother, but heaven gained an angel. In Revelation chapter 14, verse 13b, John says, "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord. May her sweet soul rest in peace. We love you, Kotie."
I greet everyone in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. My name is Andrea Malema. I'm from Limpopo. I was born in 1999 at One Mill Hospital. My mom, her name is Reverend Malema. I knew Auntie Kotie around 1999 when I was born. She's the one who assisted my mom when my mom was giving birth. Then since then, she used to call each and every birthday, asking how am I, wishing me luck. Every exams she used to call, holidays she used to call. So yeah, I would say this is a dark cloud we're going through right now, and we should put all this to God. He's gonna guide us. I would say to the family and us as a family, we should be one thing and hold each other and pray to God so that He can help us. And yeah, may her soul rest in peaceful sleep. Thank you.
My mom loved animals of all sorts, but more than that. My ma was lief vir diere van alle soorte, maar meer as dit. My mom loved kids, and she had many kids that she adopted that weren't her biological kids. So here are some messages from some of them. My ma het baie kinders gehad wat nie haar biologiese kinders was nie, wat sy aangeneem het as haar eie. En hier is 'n paar boodskappe van sommige van hulle af. She loved her coffee. She missed the bush. She loved the farm. She loved the ocean. Most of all, Beethoven. Sy was mal oor koffie. Sy was mal oor die see. Sy was mal oor braai. Sy het die bos baie gemis in die plaas. Maar meeste van alles, Beethoven. As well as trying to force some of those things on her kids. My mom also had two younger sisters that she tried to force some of those things on. As well as an older brother who unfortunately has already passed away. Here are their messages to her. Sowel as kinders waarop sy hierdie goed probeer afdruk het sy ook twee jonger sissies gehad wat partykeer gelei het onder haar onderwys en hier is alle boodskappe aan haar ouer broer is ongelukkig oorlede. My parents got married in 1978. It was my dad's second marriage, and he already had kids from his first marriage. But they wanted kids of their own. My ouers het in 1978 getrou, en dit was my pa se tweede troue. Hy het klaar kinders gehad van sy eerste troue, maar hulle wou nog steeds hulle eie kinders ook hê. And so my brother and I were born. I jokingly called her moedertjie because I could never identify with the Afrikaans bricks in which they called their mothers moeder. And so it was my little love nickname for her. En so was my boetie en ek gebore en ek het haar moedertjie genoem. As 'n grappie wat ek nooit kon identifiseer, byvoorbeeld met die Afrikaanse boeke waarin hulle ma's moeder genoem het. Ek kon dit nie lees nie. Dit het net vir my so snaaks gevoel. After my parents were divorced, I decided to live with my mom, and my brother went to stay with my dad. So my mom and I got even closer, and she came to depend on me very much in those years, and subsequently we became very good friends as well. Na my ouers egskeiding het ek by my ma gaan bly en my broer by my pa. En ek dink ek en my ma het daar nog nader geword. En sy het baie afhanklik van my geword ook. Maar ek en sy het ook baie naby vriende geword. She refused to speak English to me at home, saying that she already had to speak English at work because I told her that I prefer English to Afrikaans. Sy het geweier om met my Engels te praat by die huis. Nadat ek haar vertel het ek verkies Engels bo Afrikaans. Want sy het gesê sy praat al klaar die hele dag Engels by die werk. So here's my message to her. So hier is my boodskap aan my ma. Moedertjie, ek kan nie glo ons weg nie. Dit voel nog steeds so onwerklik en ek wil net maar praat. I love you so much, my mommy. And I miss you. Love you lots like jelly tots. I know my mom had a lot of faults as well, and she made a lot of mistakes. And I want you to remember that because she wasn't always good all the time. And that's part of her legacy. So join with me in remembering her stubbornness, her naivete, all of those things that made her human. She wasn't always just good all the time. So I want you to remember that. That's a part of her. And that's who she was as well. My ma was nie altyd net perfek nie. Sy het foute gemaak. En ek wil hê jy moet dit saam met my onthou. Want dit was deel van haar en ek dink nie sy wou gehad het ons moet net al haar goeie goed onthou nie. So onthou saam met my wie sy was. Onthou haar groblernikke, onthou nikkepot, onthou onthou die goed wat sy verkeerd gedoen het, onthou haar foute wat sy gemaak het. En dit is deel van wie sy was. Sy was nie net perfek 100% van die tyd nie. So ek nooi om dit saam met my te onthou, om haar hele persoon te onthou wie Kotie was. I want to leave you with a quote that means a lot to me. The ones that love us never really leave us. You can always find them in here. And that here is our hearts. Because the memories are always there. We can always just call them back up. So they're always still with us. Ek wil met 'n aanhaling los wat vir my baie vrede bring. Diegene wat vir ons lief is, verlaat ons nooit regtig nie. Hulle is altyd hier te vind. Met die hier wat ons hart is. Want ons kan altyd die herinneringe van hulle nog oproep. Dan is hulle weer met ons. Finally, just want to say thank you very much to everyone who joined. Thank you to everyone who helped us in this very difficult time. And just a special thank you to a few people, Adele and the staff at MH Foster Huis. Chantal for just designing my mom's little funeral letter that I'll also put everywhere, and I'll send to everyone that you saw at the end of the video. That really meant a lot to me, my friend, and it's beautiful. Aubrey, who helped with the Zoom session, helped me to prepare everything last night, and he's just been Aubrey's my best friend, and he's just been helping me throughout and holding my hand throughout this whole process. So thank you so much. Thank you to AFBOB as well, who are taking care of my mom's last remains. And then I would just like to personally thank Belinda and her family. They're not on this call, but they brought me food in a time where I didn't really want to cook. So that also meant a lot. It meant a lot more than they realised, I think. Ek wil net 'n paar laaste dankie sê. Baie dankie vir almal wat gejoin het. Vir almal wat nog gaan kyk. Vir almal wat ons help deur hierdie baie moeilike tyd. Dankie vir Adele en die staf by die Emma Foster huis. Julle het regtig baie mooi na my ma gekyk en ons ek weet nie om vir julle genoeg dankie te sê nie. So baie dankie. Dankie vir Chantal wat die mooi blaadjie gedesign het wat julle aan die einde van die video gesien het. Dis so 'n funeral blaadjie wat ek vir almal ook sal stuur en sal opsit oral. Ja, baie dankie vir Aubrey. Hy's my beste vriend en hy het my hand vasgehou deur hierdie hele storie en hy het my help om Zoom op te stel en al die goeders te toets gisterand en al dit, so baie dankie. Dan wil sy dankie sê vir Afpop wat my ma se liggaam hanteer en al daai dinge en haar laaste dinge gaan doen. En dan wil ek net persoonlik baie dankie sê vir Belinda en haar man Lamprecht. En hulle familie, hulle is nie op die oomblik nie, maar hulle het vir my kos gebring op 'n tyd wat ek nie wou kook nie en dit beteken vir my verskriklik baie en ek dink nie ek weet hoeveel dit vir my beteken nie. Yeah, so my mom didn't want a very elaborate thing, and unfortunately, in the time of COVID, we can't really get together physically, but we'll definitely do like a brunch or something once COVID has subsided some more, and then you're all invited to come and join us then. Yeah, but otherwise, for now, like I said, I think she wanted to be remembered as a whole person, and I just remember my mom with love. Baie dankie almal en in die tyd van COVID kan ons ongelukkig nie op die oomblik van mekaar kom nie, fisies nie, maar sodra COVID af is en beter is, dan kan ons almal 'n brunch of ietsie gaan eet en julle is almal uitgenooi en dan kan ons by mekaar kom en 'n bietjie fisiese ondersteuning gee. Maar tot dan baie dankie en baie liefde vir julle. Tot ziens. Thank you very much, guys. We'll chat later. Bye-bye.